health update, Dave? For
Actually, Malachi.
Mally, I mean, we got 2 more weeks with the team, and then they get a 2-week break, and then we start up again. So we'll push hard for these next 2 weeks. We'll kind of end our weeks with some open scrimmages like today to try to engage the fans. But yeah, I'd say just Mally. Is coming up on a point where he'd probably be healthy enough, but he's a guy that we got to make sure we have this winter. So he's unlikely to do anything live with the team until we get back the end of August and get him ready for the year, because I think he's going to be an awesome addition. And then I think Eric will be back this week, and hopefully be able to finish up and get a much needed 2 weeks of work for a freshman. What Brilen and Fur for being able to get this like live, kind of go through the really tough physicality and the kind of the grind that's invaluable for the freshmen. So Eric's an important player for the team this year, so we got to hopefully get a good 2 weeks for him. He just came back with a little bit of a foot from the under-19s, literally. And then we just were very cautious and shut him down immediately, and just giving him kind of 2 weeks to let that foot settle down, and then hopefully he's able to go.
Dan, just what's your big picture sense of the group you're working with? You guys any good?
Yeah. I think I think the team. I really love the depth of the team. I think the team is gonna. I think to be in the rotation and to get minutes, you're going to have to bring real value to the team. Like you're going to have to, play well and help the team play well to get minutes on this team. I think we're going to be a lot better defensively than we were, which was a big part of our issues last year with having kind of an off season for us. And then, I'm excited about the potential point guard play. I think that there's some great potential there with Silas, with size, and Malachi as a proven player, and then Alec as a veteran too. I think that we're going to be, and then I think some of the shooting. I think with Solo and Alex and Brilen and some of those guys are. I think they're really exciting shooters, amongst some of the best shooters in college this year.
When you watch last season back, what are you watching for?
I'm looking at watching last year. I think I'd say the stuff that I liked that we ran, that we want to implement again, because I'm watching our team right now, and so while I'm watching last year and I'm looking at the skill set of our current team, I'm imagining these players and some of the different things we're running on offense. So the stuff that we want to carry over from what we did offensively, that's going to fit this team, because every team's different and you can't run the same stuff every year as a coach. You got to fit it to the personnel. So, and then looking at why were we bad defensively? I mean, number one, we're a dreadful transition team defensively, and that's the number one way that you could have a bad season is if you're not an elite transition defensive team. And then we couldn't guard the ball. I don't want to turn it into me bitching about the year, but I'm everything that I thought caused us to not be in championship contention the way we want to be was was on display when you watch the season, and also you say to yourself, is bad as it felt, if we don't just kind of give away some games that we clearly should have won, the season could have felt a lot different. Better seed in the NCAA tournament, closer to competing for a regular season. If you don't lose the Seton Hall game, you don't lose the game at Nova, the games you had a chance to win. you win 16 league. It's just you're a 5 seed in the tournament. If the handful of games that we should have won.
How do you cut down the fouls? I mean, obviously that was a problem last year. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you work on that in practice? Or
I think it was a lack of discipline. With I didn't do a good job of coaching discipline. With players, I think. And it's not like sometimes you foul a lot, but you're willing to live with it because you're our 23 team and you've got Andre Jackson on the court flying around, pressuring people, pressuring the ball in passing lanes. Like the problem with last year's team was like we fouled a lot, but we were like really passive and fouled a lot. Like if you're pressuring people, creating turnovers, putting extreme pressure on the ball, really attacking the offense and being real disruptive, and you foul a lot, it's okay because you're stealing the ball and you're being disruptive. We weren't disruptive and we weren't stealing the ball. We were passive and fouling a lot. So I didn't coach for the first time I think in my career as a coach. Like I didn't get my team to play like good defense relative to our ability.
Dan, is this time of year you have to tweak what you do now because of the non-conference schedule? You kind of have to be March ready in November, December.
Yeah.
To make the most of that schedule.
Yeah, I mean, for college basketball for us, when you have championship aspirations like we have, just not being ready to go in Maui, just that 0-3, and then and what that meant to, what that meant throughout the year, like losing 2 of those 3 games, were to teams that weren't in the tournament, and how those losses affected our seeding. Like every game in college basketball has incredible meaning because it's a lot easier to advance in that tournament when you're a higher. Is it a higher seed or a lower seed? How do you say it? Like it's higher seed, better. Let's say better seed, better seed. So yeah, I mean when you're an 8 seed or a 9 seed, as opposed to a 2 or a 3 seed, it's a much harder tournament when you're playing Florida in the second round of that, and then you're an 8-9 game. But I think for us this summer, I think the way that we've tried to change what we do in the summer is like 4 hard weeks, 2 weeks off, 4 hard weeks, 2 weeks off, and then the team is, I think, refreshed. But we can't afford in where we are today in our sport for us to like have optional summer workouts and have an assistant coach doing skill work with players. I mean, our summers we're going hard just to have a chance.
How talented a shooter is Brilen, and what else does he bring to the team besides that shot making?
Yeah, Braylon's. The shooting is it's the first thing that stands out. As well as some shot making that don't involve just threes, and the fact that he can make them off the dribble too and shoot them from deep. But I think there's some toughness there. I think that there's a seriousness. I think he's going to guard. I think he's going to be able to guard people. And I think he's be able to finish at the rim because he's like really bouncy. He's like sneaky bouncy. So and he's I think he's just a serious guy. He's a serious guy, and he's got the benefit of being out there with like a 4th year senior Alex, a 3rd year Solo, a 4th year Taris, some veteran point guards that are experienced and have been successful. So he's gonna be surrounded by veterans: Jaden Ross, Jalen Stewart, 3rd year juniors, a lot of veterans around him.
So can he start for you?
Yeah, he definitely could. He could definitely put himself in that position, to earn that. Somebody, there's, I think, guys gotta earn it, but he certainly could earn it.
Do you think Alex then might be a little bit unburdened by pressure that he maybe felt last year with maybe a little bit more depth and all-around talent around him this year? He seems.
Yeah.
It's obviously last year was a struggle at times for him.
Yeah, I think his first 2 years in college were, minus that January. None of us still know what happened that January. Of 23 or yeah. Somebody should do study that month.
Is that really what you want?
Not me. I don't want to study it, but somebody else.
January in Maui.
Somebody- Yeah, maybe Maui too. But thanks for adding that, Dave. But yeah, his first 2 years in college were a joyride, and then I think going through a season like last year, where he had, I think we were not. It wasn't a team that was functioning at the level of his first 2 years, and I think it affected everyone's level of play. I think players that went in the portal will play better in their new in their new places. I think the returning players that come back here will play better. I think it just it didn't work out. It didn't happen. It didn't come together the way we all planned. I think Alex, having gone through a year like that, I think, and then what you learn from that, you get a lot tougher. You get mentally tougher when you kind of got to drag yourself through a tough year in your life, dealing with adversity like that. I think it's made him mentally tougher. I think it identified areas that he's really got to work at his game, and I think you saw how sharp his game looked. Today, making hard shots, making contested threes, going through a hard year in your life and your career, it makes you a lot stronger. I think he's like really strong going into this year and confident.
What are you most curious about? Like you can have a roster that you like the looks of. You can have a plan and love where you're at in July, but you'll learn a lot about this group obviously in the coming months.
Yeah. You need certain things to happen for it to all come together. Like you need Taras to play like a version of Adama. You need to Eric to have, to have some type of an impact, because it's important for us. We know how to utilize two centers and get both of them to play at a high level, right? So like, the two center combo that we've envisioned being successful like we've been the last couple of years, is that stuff all going to hit? On paper it looks great and it makes sense, but there's no magic dust at UConn that when they get on campus we sprinkle it over their head and then they become a champion. Like, these players are the magic dust. They're the magic dust, and obviously we've got a way of putting these guys in position on a daily basis to improve every day and to work with urgency and to be about winning and improvement. But a lot of it comes down to, do we have the right group of people together?
When you look at like Jalen and Jaden, for instance, do you think like, all right, you can get one of those wings looking like an all-league player, that puts you in a really desirable spot?
Yeah, I think just getting them to be consistent and to to play in a matter. I think you want to get to a point where, like with those guys, where it's like they play well enough that you don't want to take them off the court. Where it's like you got these these guys on the wing where you're you just don't want to take them off the court. You got these guys that are that bring so much value. Like where it's like, and there's competition with these guys on the wing for minutes. There's the kind of those 2 through 4 spots. I mentioned three point guards that bring quality. You've got on the wing, you've got Solo, you've got Brilen, you've got Jaden Ross, you've got Jalen Stewart, you got Firth, you got Caravan, you've got 6 guys in kind of 3 spots for 120 minutes there. You got 3 quality point guards for 40 minutes at that spot.
How much does the summer remember Alex at one point said that during last season that where she got physical during the summer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we put a big emphasis. We felt like at times last year we got bullied in league play. We felt like, the older teams, in particular, really, physically handled us. So I think you could see there's, some emphasis with the program with guys like Solo and Jalen Stewart, and these guys look physically better and stronger. So there's been a big emphasis there. And then, we've messed with the way that we've kind of, worked through our weeks here with the team in terms of how we build up to like a Friday, bringing officials, bringing some fans in, hopefully the fans don't start like killing the players that didn't play well today on social. I think that started early last summer, and it just causes angst, Joe, that we don't need.
Coach.
So it was just the first time they're going to play. Guys that didn't play well will play a lot better. So stay off the message boards and let the guys just work through the summer. You won't start losing your mind in November or December.
I don't think
Just
too many
give
of
it some
these-
time.
I don't think too many of these fans are on social media. They look like a demographic. For it.
Yeah, I asked them not to. Never. You could better to be safe.
Does it feel though that you're starting? You made a comment at the end of last season where you kind of wanted to reset, come off that mountain that you were on.
It just feels like to get into, when you're just the way that we played for 2 years. I mean, a 2-year run, and then, just what we're able to do there. And then I think it's to get back on a relentless pursuit is refreshing. To be chasing, to be hunting again, to be relentlessly pursuing again, I think is it's a better feeling. I think it's I don't want to say a better feeling. I think it's I think they're both great feelings. The championship feeling is great too, but just relentless pursuit of a mission, being on a mission, being kind of attacking it feels.
Is Solo improved, and if so, where? Sorry.
You better listen to Bobby too. You do not want Bobby bearing down on you.
Has Solo improved,
that?
and if so, where?
Solo, I would just say, for Solo, the confidence of what he was able to do. I mean, he did not. He was a guy that was careening towards shooting like mid 40s to even higher from three at incredibly high volume, and on like not easy to make threes in a Jordan Hawkins rip level of getting it off quick and making hard threes. So I mean, the residual confidence carryover of being an all Big East player, or a guy that's proven and then knows that if he didn't, I don't think he ended the year shooting great in the last couple games, but I mean his shooting last year, I mean he's as good a shooter as there is returning to college. He's gotten stronger. We've emphasized just like rim finishing and handling and passing and defense. Like he's going to be better in all those ways last year, and then bring even improved shooting with him back, more range, more dangerous.
Coach, Mike Loxley, the football coach at Maryland, felt that he lost the locker room last year, and he attributed that to sort of figuring out the whole NIL. Do you think that's something that could ever happen here at UConn?
I think if you give the wrong type of people a lot of money, it's a bad thing, and you could have serious problems in a locker room. But if you're given people with character and people with humility and hard workers and people that are about, caring about their teammates, great competitors, people that want to win at UConn, people that want to lift others up around them, then I don't think that that's something that's going to happen. But I just don't think you could give People with either low character or low sports character, low team character, a lot of money. I could see that becoming a big problem.
You said you like the point guard situation. What is it you like about it?
I like, I like Silas's size at that position, and his ability to get in the paint, and the fact that he's shown a capability to shoot well from three, and he's getting used to the system, and we look at him a lot like we looked at Tristan, that summer. There's a learning curve that is going to go on throughout the year, and by the time we got to March of Tristan's first year, he was an awesome player for us come tournament time, and he flashed his junior year, and then eventually we got the consistency and we won the championship. So I see a guy that's going to be a lot like Tristan. I see with Mally a guy that's going to be a lot like Hassan. Malachi's a really good player, so Malachi's going to just give us a guy like Hassan there, and then Alec I think is gives us. You can move Furf over there, who's got some size and he could play that position a little bit. Who's tall at that position. So we've got a lot of answers there.
Thanks everyone.
I assume